Okay, so Britta, you're on.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Britta Burton. I teach ESL. I teach web-enhanced classes. I've been teaching web-enhanced since we first had Blackboard. I don't know if some of you remember that. And then we transitioned to Angel a couple of years ago. And so today I would like to talk to you about two things. And let me just find my, that's the one. The two things I want to talk about is first, when you have your syllabus and you break down the weight, what you allocate to each of your categories, quizzes and finals and midterms, how you set that up in a gradebook. To me, well, personally, I had trouble with Excel ever since I first tried it, and I just didn't like it. I like putting in formulas, and no offense to the accounting people. So Angel, the gradebook in Angel, or back when we had Blackboard, it was just a lifesaver, because I just set it up once in the beginning, and then it just runs. And I don't have to do anything, I just put in my numbers. So that's the first thing I would like to show you. And just as an intro, I'm going to use my ESL 930 LS class. That's what's it called? High beginning listening and speaking class. But it doesn't really matter because my weights are broken down very similar in most of my classes. So I'd like to show you the syllabus first so you can see how my weights distribute. Is that big enough? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in this class, assignments and quizzes are worth 40%, midterm exam is 25, and the final is 25. And then I have what is often referred to as the fudge factor of 10% for attendance and participation. Now in this class, it's not just in class, they also have to, since it's web enhanced, they have to do a lot of participation online and in Angel, and that can be tracked, as some of you probably know already. So what I would like to show you is how you can set this up, whatever your percentages are, in your own class. But before I start preaching to the choir, I'd like to know how many people have already set something like this up for their class. All right. Well, I'll be talking to this side mostly. Okay, so the easiest way to do this is in this tab called Manage. We have the gradebook, and I guess that's what I use mostly in Angel, apart from the Lessons tab, these two tabs. And in the gradebook, there are two very important management, well, let's call them categories. The first one is it's called categories itself. The second one is assignments. Categories is basically what I just showed you in the syllabus. The way you want to break down your weights. So you have categories for quizzes, categories for assignments, finals, midterms, etc. I break it down to 4 categories. The 4 that I showed you just a minute ago. And grading scale is something interesting too. I just want to refer to that quickly because my grading scale might be a little bit different from what you're using. I don't know if you cut off an A at 90% or 91%. Because I'm I'm a softie, I break it off at 89%, and this is where you can do in the grading scale. You can put in exactly at what percentage you can break off your grades. So this is what I do here. And then, the rest is just pretty much straightforward. You just put in a number, edit, write in the letter, put in a number. That's all you have to do in this little tab.
Do your percentages have to be in whole numbers?
No, they don't have to. I could
so
put in 89.
So you could round down 89.5 goes up and 89.4 goes down.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, I was actually debating whether I should put in 89.8 like that, but then I decided to, not bother. But in the end, when you see the grade book, you have digits after the decimal point anyway, and then you can still decide, if you see a 0.79, what you want to do with that. Okay, so let's go to categories first. And here you can see how I distributed it. Looks exactly the same. Quizzes, assignments, 40%, final grade, attendance, participation, and then midterm. And this one here, the final grade, is just a placeholder because I post grades online for students to see at the end of the semester. So it's kind of awkward to do in the grade book because you have to assign a percentage or a grade or something to everything. So what I did here is I simply assigned it 0% so that they can see their grade, their actual letter grade, as opposed to a number or percentage. Okay, and so all you have to do is, if you want to put a new one in, add new, and then you have a new category. Type it in, put in the numbers. It's very easy. There it is. Title, quizzes, assignments, whatever you want to call this. And then here, this is my favorite feature. You can either use all assignments, or like I do in quizzes and assignments, I drop the lowest one. Or you can use only the highest, whichever one you prefer. Yeah.
You can also drop the lowest too if you want. So if you click on drop
Yep.
lowest, then you can put a number in that box that says grades, right?
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, right here.
If you wanted to drop the lowest two, you would just put
Yeah,
a 2 in that
two.
box.
Yeah, it's very convenient. It's a nice feature to have. Yeah, you put in your weight in this box. Now, let me just show you what happens if I click Advanced, because it makes a little difference what feature you're using. You get a couple of more options in Advanced. You can determine the format that the students see. You can auto-calculate, which is nice some of the time. Sometimes you don't want it to auto-calculate because it might mess up what you've already put in. But I can't get into this now because we don't have enough time.
Do you leave it off?
I leave it off, yeah. Because, whatever, it already calculates it anyway. This is just an extra feature. And then extra credit assignments, sometimes if you want something, you can have a completely different category for extra credit. Okay, so I'm going back to the second one, and here is where you put your actual assignments. So you have your category set up, and now you want your assignments, and you can see I have a whole bunch of assignments, and there's possible points. If you want to add a new one, same thing, you click on Add New, and it looks very similar to what you saw before. You put in a title, choose your category right here. This is important. For every assignment has to have a category. This is how they're interlinked. And your points, and the way you want to display the grade. And then here is a tricky little box that sometimes I forget myself. When you have a quiz online, you want to determine first submission or last submission, however many times they can take the quiz. Or if it's a grade, if it's something that they did in class and you enter the grade, you have to check manual. If you have an online quiz and you leave it on manual, the grades are not going to show up, and you freak out and go like, where are my grades? So there are, a couple of tricky issues that you figure out over the course of time, and here's ripped out. And so
then when you hit that first submission,
Mhm.
they complete the quiz and it automatically gets posted on
It
the
does,
Facebook.
yeah.
Okay, that's the one I was
Yeah, see, there's one of those.
Okay.
And sometimes if I have like practice quizzes or things like that, I allow a couple of submissions, then I click last submission, and they can take it 2 times or 3 times. Okay, and the last thing that I wanted to talk about today, yeah, okay, fine.